Hi guys, so some news, interesting news to say the least. Boris Johnson is planning to allow British judges to overturn European Court of Justice rulings after Brexit. However, the House of Lords is attempting to stop this, thankfully. Members of the Lords Constitutional Committee have said the Boris Johnson plans, which originally respected Theresa May's commitment to transfer all EU law into domestic law, has been basically ripped up. What would have happened was that these laws could only be overturned by the Supreme Court or its equivalent in Scotland. This is now gone. What Boris has done is to add a clause to the Withdrawal Agreement Bill, which is now being viewed and reviewed by the House of Lords. This clause would have allowed ministers the power to direct the courts on interpretation of EU law and allow the lower courts the power to overturn ECJ rulings. Now, the Lords Committee has said that they are substantially concerned about what the government has asked them to do, and they're asking the government in return to scrap this legislation. And this is, of course, setting it up for a showdown over the bill in the upper chamber. The Lords who are part of the review process have said, and I quote, "We do not believe it is appropriate for courts other than the Supreme Court and the Scottish Court of Judiciary to have power to depart from the interpretations of EU case law." So what would happen is that if there was a dispute between the UK and the EU and the case went to the European Court of Justice, the ECJ would rule on the case and say the UK was then forced to implement the ruling. It could simply have the ruling sent to a lower court, which would be under the influence of the government. The court would then rule in the government's favour. It's important to remember that the role of the Supreme Court and the Scottish equivalent is that they are non-political. They serve the constitution and not the government. This is a dangerous anti-constitutional path that Boris Johnson is attempting to take here. But we've seen how the government has clashed with the court in Scotland before, and this is a worrying development. Let me know in the comments, guys, what you think. Always appreciate it. Thanks.